175 days since my last active video post here on my YouTube channel. 175 days. A lot has happened in 175 days. Now, it's 175 days from the time I'm filming this. If I remember to, maybe I'll notate exactly how many days since I actually released this. And so I got some work ahead of me to do. Well, I'm changing some things, doing some things. Really kind of wanted to show you is life happens, but you can always adjust with your hobby to your life and make it work from there. So yeah, so 175 days. Realistically, in that time frame, my 65 gallon here has sat very stagnant, very overgrown. Even with a box light on and everything else, you can barely see into the aquarium. I promise there's fish in here. Everybody's alive as far as I can tell. Are they doing well? Argument's sake, they're doing okay. They're a little skinny. They don't get fed very often. Honestly, they're living off their microfauna in the tank. They're just living off a very naturalistic tank, but I'm tired of it. I'm tired of looking at this. I'm making some changes. I want this to be refreshing again. I actually want to enjoy my hobby again. So we're taking all of this and turning it into this. So obviously, to get the 65 gallon up to snuff, kind of the futuristic look we're going for here. Not even futuristic, just the clean, freshened up tank we're going for. Getting that back all into proper order, and I have plans for the 65 gallon. We've got some work to do. I need to get. Unfortunately, we have the duckweed infestation. I hate duckweed. We're gonna do our best to get rid of that. We got hordes of snails in there, which I do have plans for the future inhabitant or inhabitants. Not quite sure yet for the 65. And then I just need to do a general cleanup. Get the glass cleaned up. I want to freshen up the stand, make it all look good again. Actually, where I'm willing and wanting to present that again, where I look at it, I'm happy with it. That's why we're making changes. I haven't been happy with any of this for a really long time. And if I'm going to keep doing fish, which I want to keep doing fish, I need to do it where I'm happy. I need to do it that makes me happy. And honestly, as much as my family doesn't totally enjoy fish, they still need to be comfortable even just looking at what I'm doing and not having to kind of put up with that. So let's get to work and let's make this thing look good. To get things started, I needed a new tank, just a holding tank to put all the fish, the plants, shrimp, everything from the 65 gallon over to it while I was working on the 65 gallon. Unfortunately, Petco was having their 50% off sale at the time I decided to do this. And with a little bit of Dawn dish soap, I like to use it to clean it out, just get the factory crud off, shelf crud, dust, whatever it may be. I found it a best practice to use just a little bit of Dawn dish soap to rinse out your new tanks because it rinses the cleanest. And that way I know I have a good clean slate to start my new projects with. A simple trick I don't think I've ever actually shown on camera before is using an infrared thermometer. It's just one of these like heat guns to actually preset the temperature of my tap water to match as close as I can to my tank water before doing water changes. Now this isn't a pinpoint accuracy, but it allows me to get within what is a comfortable range for me. And with my 65 gallon being about 75 degrees at the time, I wanted to be about 75 degrees to fill up the new 20 gallon tank. And this is just a simple trick I've used to stop guessing exactly what temperature of water I'm putting in my tanks. And it's really just helped me have less temperature swings. And with the temperature cooling off in my area, I am running just a heater in the tank And then no paid promotion, but the Fritz ACCR dechlorinator, I think it is. It's basically the same thing as Seachem Safe, but the powder form a little bit goes a long way, and it just helps me so much. Now, a trick I learned from Tozawa tanks, which I think more people should know, is the bucket head. It's a 5-gallon wet vac attachment for a 5-gallon bucket. Makes quick work of duckweed. Like I said, I learned this trick from Tozawa tanks. He actually has a dedicated video to this, and it's an awesome little invention for like $20. So I can already hear the internet screaming at me as I'm doing this, washing my sponge filters in tap water. How dare you? You're gonna kill all your beneficial bacteria. There's no way you're gonna kill all your beneficial bacteria by washing your sponge filters in the sink. And I need these. I need these for the 20-gallon, just to have cycled sponge filters ready to go, full of beneficial bacteria. And guess what? They worked. I haven't lost a single fish from doing this process, and I've been doing it this way for years. And honestly, I had to clean these sponge filters in like 3 months at this point, so they definitely needed just a little bit of TLC on this. Now, starting the process of moving everything over to the 20-gallon, I started netting out clumps of floating plants, as that is where the majority of the shrimp were hanging out. And I wanted to save as many shrimp as I could. They're just cherry shrimp, but I personally love them. I love the coloration they have, and I really wanted to start a dedicated colony in a separate tank in the future. But for the time being, I just needed to move them over quickly and efficiently, and that's the way I found to do it. Now, I also wanted to save as many of the plants as I could. I really wanted to reuse the plants, not only in the 65-gallon, but in potential future tanks. And then I removed the hardscape, make my life easier in catching fish. It just all part of the process of we really needed to tear this tank down to complete bottom. And the sand was quite disgusting, so a little bit of detritus cleanup there just to kind of give it a fresh look. And then using the Fluval Q5 air pump, which I've talked about before, I transferred over everybody into the 20-gallon, running those sponge filters, which I cleaned in tap water, and I say it doesn't harm anything. It was just such a simple way to do that. And I was very surprised to find that all of my fish actually survived of my lack of care. So the eels, the cherry barbs, the swordtails, the ottos, they just all looked great. And I got a fortunate surprise of I think I have a male and a female of the rainbow fish still. Well, after a couple hours of work, that's what we are left with. We are left with a blank canvas. Now, I'm going to take it outside before I get snow in my area, so hopefully tomorrow night, and spray down, get rid of all this duckweed up on the background, spray out the rest of the sand, just clean it up, the tank up. And so all the fish are over here in this 20-gallon long, just temporarily. And then I'm going to sort them out into, other various tanks. More on that later. But for the main purpose, there we are. That's what we're working with. So we definitely have some plans for the stand. And, well, as you've seen, we've still got some work to do to get to that point of beauty. Okay, so real talk. Was this the biggest glam up you've ever seen? No. Was it meant to be? No. But the purpose of this was showing that just with a little bit of work and a fresh coat of paint on the stand to make it black, it made this tank look 1,000 times better. It actually got me excited about this tank again. It actually got me excited to film something, to do something, to start something new. And it was fun doing it. I had a lot of fun doing it. Now there's other projects I've started in here. Some breeding projects or another rack, and we'll talk about that later time. But today's focus was really the 65-gallon, mainly because this is where I needed to restart things again. I really miss having not even that display, but just that tank where this doesn't need to be about breeding fish. This doesn't need to be, how many fish can I produce, or I want to, try and breed this fish. This tank just needed to be my solidarity of that is peaceful to look at. So I've still got plans for it. I want to get more plants. I really do want to get more plants. It's really barren right now. I did plant a lot of the Pogostema stellatus octopus kind of in one of the back corners again, just to really I wanted a nice, just bushy feel, cryptic feel in a corner. And speaking of cryptic, I want crypts. I want to get like 10 to 15 crypts and just cover the substrate in crypts. I think it looks beautiful that way. I think the eels would love it. And I really hope that my future inhabitant of this tank would also be interested in them, because I don't want them to be interested in my plants, but make them feel, I just think the fish is going to look incredible with more plants in there. And so I still have some of that black lava rock that I am debating on putting back in the tank. Or if I want to get like a nice piece of driftwood. I really like driftwood. I love the way driftwood looks in tanks, so I'm leaning towards that. But at the end of the day, it just made me happy. And it was fun to be excited about fish again. It was fun to be excited about creating a video again. And just re-enter my passion again. So thank you for joining me on this crazy adventure of resetting up my 65-gallon tank. I had a good time doing it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And please, leave me a comment down below. What was your favorite part of seeing it? What would you do with this tank? What fish do you think we should put in this tank? I have my idea, but I also want to hear your idea. So guys, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll talk to you guys on the next one.